Hello everyone and welcome to Beaulieu. Today we're here for Simply Electric, a show dedicated to electric vehicles. There's quite a few here today to have a look at, so let's go and do that. It's a little bit different to start a car show walking around with bicycles, but these are different. These are e-bikes. And of course e-bikes are all the rage at the minute. So you've got a little electric hub in this one. It's a more recumbent style of bicycle, which means you sort of sit back and relax a little bit more as opposed to that. To say who this one's made by? Hayes Cycles, I think it is. Quite a nice looking thing. The seat looks comfy. Then you've got a cube here. It's quite different to this one, which has got the hub in the front wheel. The electric hub is there by the pedals. But onto the cars. The Mg5 Ev, we've had a look at one of these previously on the channel. In fact, it was the first vehicle I ever reviewed that wasn't one of my own. These things, probably one of the most affordable EVs on the market at the minute, range roughly around 215 miles on a charge. And I believe starting price, even now, even though it's what, a year, 2 years later after since I filmed that review, it's still starting price around about £25,000, which, as I say, still one of the most affordable EVs on the market. And also, it's not a bad looking vehicle. I believe MG are actually bringing out a facelifted version of this, or even a potentially new model built from the ground up sort of thing, which potentially could be even better than this one, which to be honest is going to be quite hard to beat because it is already a great car. Hyundai Ioniq 5, massively popular things these. You can see why. The styling of them is very, very neat and tidy.
It's very futuristic.
And as Genevieve just says, very futuristic. Starting price is about £39,000 on these. Range will give you about 315, 320 miles. Of course, it all depends on how you drive the thing, of course. But the one thing that really surprised me about these cars is just how big they are. I keep thinking of them as being the same sort of size as the Honda E, and potentially even the Mini E, but no, it's actually really quite large. I do like this whole pixelated style rear light that goes all the way across the back. That, I think, is a really nice design feature of this car. Have a look down the side. Side profile, actually, does look kind of similar to the Honda E, which is a car I absolutely adore. Before anyone thinks I'm trying to compare a Honda E with an Ioniq 5, which, of course, two different car brands, and, of course, different aims for the target audience, target market. We'll say now, I sound a little bit bunged up, I guess. That's because I am got a bit of a head cold at the minute. It is just a head cold. Huge wheels on this, 20-inch rims. I like the styling of the wheels on this particular car. Tesla Model S. Lovely colour on that. Massively popular cars. The first Tesla to be sold in the UK about £30,000-ish. 35,000. The Ford Mustang Mach-E. A very controversial car, shall we say, especially here in Europe, of course. Mustang, a name almost synonymous with the muscle car scene in America. But of course this is very much not your traditional muscle car. Of course usually they've got a V8 engine, and this is very much the opposite. So electric power. Obviously Mustang Mach-E 4, which suggests four-wheel drive. X will be the trim of it. Gotta say, I'm not a fan of necessarily using the name Mustang on a car like this, because obviously it goes against everything the Mustang was. But I don't think they've done too bad a job with the design, to be perfectly honest. I think it looks good. Quite like this carbon fibre stickering, which it is vinyl essentially. On here, it really helps it stand out. But one car I do really like, it comes from a company which in recent years have been fairly I guess bland in a way, quite conservative with their designs, is this Peugeot 208 or the E208. I think it's a cracking looking little car. Little detail of the badge there, little bits of blue to mark the fact that it's electric, the saber tooth look in the front. And I think it looks brilliant in this blue. Yellow also is a really strong colour for it. Of course there's the mark for the E. I think this particular area is a bit of a hark back to the 205 GTI, of course a car that Peugeot even now celebrates massively. Rear lights, they look really cool on this. We should be having an E208 come up on the channel at some point in the future, as and when time allows us to actually go out and film one. but we haven't been offered one to review, so fingers crossed one will be coming up fairly soon. I think these things started around about £29,000. Miles of range is something actually quite similar to the Mg5 Ev, but of course trying to compare them a little bit difficult because of course this is a tiny hatchback that's a big estate. Also something I know very little about, and that's motorbikes. I've got an interest in them. I know that this is a moped, and it's got a, well, you can book demos for these. EV2000A Artisan, I imagine that's the company. Yeah, obviously very much inspired by the likes of the Piaggio Vespa and Innocenti Lambretta. But yeah, we need Carlos, but unfortunately he's not here. He's packing for his holiday to Spain. This is obviously not just a moped. It's a little bit different. Obviously full-on style of motorbike. Zero emission. Zero is the company, crafted in California. Looks like it's got Bosch bits on it, judging by that. Maybe the motor is made by Bosch, maybe the lights. I'm not sure. But I think if this is what future electric motorbikes are going to look like, I'm all for it. That looks brilliant. Renault Zoe, of course, one of the vehicles which really caused a stir when it was launched. Nowadays costs somewhere in the region of about £29,000, maybe a little bit underneath that. Range is about 240 miles with these. The only thing with it that personally I don't like is necessarily, I think the styling with it is a bit like Peugeots have gone by eras, as I said earlier. It's a little bit conservative. But Renault are looking to launch the all-new Renault 5 EV that's coming in a couple of years, which I think, if I'm right in saying, is going to be replacing this particular car, which will hopefully sort of resolve those issues, because the range on it is fantastic. The price, okay, maybe not so great for obviously the size of car, but in terms of EVs it's about average, especially for, again, this sort of size of car. But if it's looking like the Renault 5 and it's got all the stuff that the Zoe's got on it, I think Renault are onto a bit of a winner with that. This, I think, is the latest of Tesla's cars. It's a Model Y. You've got to look at how clean it is in there. It really is a clean style of dashboard. Everything really controlled through the central touchpad. Obviously a bit more tablet inspired. Very modern. Very minimalist. Yeah, it's not a Model X because it doesn't have the gull-wing doors on the rear. Dual motor, so plenty of power with this car. There's no denying that. Huge wheels. Well, are they 19-inch? We also have a few controls on the steering wheel, and of course you've got your indicators, lights and everything else like that. Fairly standard. Clearly the driver of this car is a fan of Starbucks. On to just EVs, an electric vehicle roadshow. This is the Audi E-Tron. Quite a big SUV. This one, I think they've also got the E-Tron, which is a vehicle that's very similar to the Porsche Tycoon, like the one over there. But yes, this is the SUV type version of it. I think it's the same platform but slightly raised up. This is the 55 Quattro version, it would seem. Don't really know a lot about this car, but as with all videos, never pretend to know everything about every single vehicle in the world. It does have a sheet on the front, which I can't see because it's too far over. £48,000 thereabouts. Obviously SUV in stone, 26,737 miles. 2019 this one. I think it's quite a good looking car actually for an SUV. Not the biggest fan of SUV vehicles myself, but one thing I do like is the orange backing for that, and that looks really good, especially with the silver over the top, bit of an overlay. Looks comfortable in the back, and of course being an Audi, fairly luxurious interior. 220 plus real world range. Okay, so it's fairly respectable, given, especially, actually I'll add in, respectable for the size of car. It's absolutely massive. Bet this weighs a few ton. Moving on from the Audi to the Honda E, in the launch colour to have of this particular car. This one is 2020 reg, 470 miles on the clock. I imagine it's probably ex dealership showroom model. We've actually done a review of one of these at the SMMT test day, so if that video is already up, go and check it out. We'll have a link somewhere at the top of the screen just there. If it isn't up yet, it will be very soon after this video. There's your charging port in here. Love the fact it says Honda. One detail I really liked when this car was launched was the fact that the Honda badge lit up, but unfortunately due to regulations it's not something that can happen now. The camera's on the side. Having driven one of these cars at SMMT, it's a very weird experience to try and get used to, not having to look out the side of the car but just look at these little screens on the side. Prices of these cars start around 28,500-ish, 600 roughly. You get about 137 miles of range out of it, give or take 140, we'll go with that figure. It's missing the really cool wheels on this, sadly, but otherwise I'd be all over this model. I do love the Honda E. It's a brilliant piece of design, obviously inspired by the Honda City of the 70s and 80s, which ironically you can fit the Honda Moto Compo fold-up motorcycle into. Imagine if they produced something like that for this. Honda could really be onto a bit of a winner with that. Peugeot 208, this is the GT line. £25,995, 18,957 miles, so 19,000 miles, give or take. The GT line, you get a few other niceties, such as these little details on the grille. Bit of a sportier look to the car. It's a good looking vehicle though. I do like the E208. Mercedes EQS 450 Plus. Imagine that's probably in reference to its horsepower. Being a Mercedes, looks very, very nice in there, you have to admit. Flappy paddles on there.
I'm a big fan of this storage area underneath. I think that's a really good use of the space.
It is, isn't it?
Because some of the ones that we've seen at SMMT Day didn't have anything there. It was just a sort of gap. And I think that they've used that really well.
I think the Honda E actually has that, a huge gap in the middle, but Mercedes actually a really good use of space with this. Especially given the fact they got the flowing over the top.
Yeah, and I know that it's new, but it smells really nice.
They got little turbine vents in there. I like those turbine vents.
It's just very clean, isn't it? Like, it's smooth and very Mercedes.
It is. Mercedes has got a certain knack to cars, and this is just them all over. But behind it is another car that I guess is an offshoot of Mercedes. It's smart. This is the little smart EQ42. This is the particular Brabus version, so it's the Smart 42 and a little bit more. But rough starting price of these is about £17,000, and I think miles of range on them I think is around 70 miles, 80 miles. It depends on how you drive it, of course. This I imagine would be a tiny bit less, being the Brabus version. Just have a quick look at the sheet on here. It's a Night Sky edition. Fab EV to be driving this summer. £15,995. I think all the vehicles on this particular stand are second hand.
Go on the website, you've got all the details.
But they got a really good selection. 500e La Prima. Again, another vehicle with a bit of an open space down there. It's quite a good looking car. I especially like the design they got in the middle there. We had a look at this at SMMT Regional Day with Joseph Lloyd back last year actually, September. Piano key style. Of course, probably a little bit of the Stellantis partnership kicking in with that. 500e. One little detail I do like is the Fiat being written into it, and it's in the seats as well, have you noticed? Yeah. Yeah, have a quick look. It's in the seats as well. And the stitching. So I really like how they've integrated that into the design of the car as well. I just think it's a very sweet little car. Indicators on the side stick out. And of course the all new face they got for the 500. Very much inspired by the previous Gen 500, such as Genevieve's 1.2. Angry eyebrow. Is that what we're going to call it now? It's got,
I do like the paint job on it.
do you know what it is? It's the essence of angry puppy look. Cute, but looking tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do like the paintwork because it's kind of shifty. It's kind of green and blue.
It does change depending on the lighting you're looking at it in. Yeah. Another one, liking the blue on this one. It's actually a very similar blue to the car that I drove last year. It was definitely last year. Feels like long ago now, but really not that long ago. Unfortunately, MG still gets a lot of slack because, of course, the way MG was back in the 70s and 80s. Although they produce brilliant sports cars, these days not so much. They're producing larger family vehicles. But definitely a company to keep an eye on. They're really going up in the world at the minute, to say the least. One of the fastest growing, if not the fastest growing brand in the UK at the minute. Peugeot E-2008. Again, quite like the front end of this car, especially with that saber-tooth look they've got going on. Of course, you've got the lion on the front, so keeping that cat theme. 2008 GT, £33,000. Tiny steering wheel.
Got any car.
It's nice. I like the green stitching in here. Volkswagen ID3, I think this is. Not a car I know a huge amount about. I do like the new simplistic VW badge. It's quite open and quite spacious in there, especially with the huge front windscreen. Of course, the ID range looking probably in the long run to completely replace the whole Volkswagen range as it currently stands with the Golf and the Polo and the like. Polestar 2, 64 kilowatt hour, 165 kilowatt battery. Obviously battery electric vehicle says down there. Sorry, I'm filming a video. Polestar, company that's based upon Volvo, in fact probably owned by the same people who own Volvo these days. I think it's Geely in China. This looks very stealthy and cool. This is the latest Nissan Leaf style. I think it's a massive improvement over the older versions of the car. 140-ish miles of range, 29,800-ish pounds. Basically the original Leaf, one of the sort of original popular mass-produced electric cars before they really took off. I like the styling of this one. I think it's a massive improvement over previous generations, especially the way the lights flick out on here. Personally, I like this. What do you think, Genevieve?
It's okay. Yeah, I don't mind. It's not perhaps my favourite. It's a little bit kind of plain, I suppose. But I do like it. It's the kind of the old hat, isn't it? It's the one that if you say electric car or EV to somebody, then they sort of instantly think either like Priuses or Leafs.
They do, yeah. Well, speaking of old hat, what have we got here? Not one, but two G-Whizzes. Whiz-I? Is that plural for it?
Whizzy.
Whizzy. Yeah, these things massively made fun of on Top Gear back in the day for just being that little bit different. Priced about just under £16,000, brand new I think, 50 miles of range, which really for the money is not great to say the least, but a perfectly brilliant little city car I'd say. It's tiny, you can fit two in one car park space. Apparently it's a four-seater, although you might not have to have legs to fit in the back of one of these. More short legs. It's got an umbrella handbrake, which is very traditional. Look how it says in here, objects in mirror are closer than they appear. These cars are getting rarer and rarer these days, especially for the reasons that we mentioned above, such as being made fun of endlessly for their styling, which personally I think is quite cute. But yeah, the cars are becoming massively more popular these days, especially as ultra low emission zones are introduced into more and more cities and towns around the UK. 50 miles of range doesn't sound like much out in the countryside, but in a city or town, absolutely perfect. Look at that tiny charger. Love it. It's a great little car. So this is the interior of the G-Whiz. As you can see, quite simple, quite straightforward. There's that umbrella handbrake, two pedals naturally being electric. Under here I imagine all of the batteries. Door cards, as mentioned by the owner, not necessarily the best of plastic quality in Europe, but still it's okay, it's still here, still surviving. This car is 2007, and as you can see, it's all still here. But yeah, quite like this. That'll be your sort of driving modes, I guess, for the car. This, I've been told, straight off of a 1970s Suzuki, the steering column, steering wheel very small. It's not a car you get to have a look around every day, because there's only about 300 of these left around now. About 1,000 were imported to London. And overall, I can see why they were so popular in London, but at the same time you kind of see why there aren't too many left now. But personally I think it's a really sweet little car. Especially like the little blue detailing they got going on all around here. I think that's just a really neat little touch that brings the car all together. Another Hyundai Ioniq 5, again, fantastic looking car. This though is a runner-up in the People's Choice Awards. It's a camper van based on the Nissan EV200, I think. NV200, it's the E version of course. Hire an electric camper van from Shaw Campers. I kind of want to give that a go. I want to see what it's like camping in a zero emission vehicle. I think that'd be quite interesting. Honda E. Ironically, despite the fact we're at a petrol show, there is a petrol show, electric show. There is a petrol generator running. Get them mixed up. But yeah, electric show. This Honda, perfect wheels on it. The Hobbs style, I think they look fantastic on there. Tesla Model S and another Model Y, of course, as we already mentioned, the latest of Tesla's lineup. Scan here to book your Tesla test drive. Might have to have a go at that. Could maybe film a review of it. Model S, of course. In fact, you've got three. You've got the Model S, the Model 3, and what looks to be a Model X. Nissan Leaf, first generation. These things actually stand up quite well in design today. Like the way that the front lights all fold and bend over here, and that's because of aerodynamic reasons. They found that the mirrors were causing too much wind noise, so they designed these and sculpted them so the air would rush past it without making too much noise. The wipers on there, the motors, they were too noisy. They were from another Nissan model, so they ended up making those specially for this car. Range, I think, on these things was somewhere between 90 and 120 miles, depending on which particular version you got. These days, you may be looking quite considerably less than that. But certainly one of the pioneers of the electric car, I guess, phenomenon that's really taken on the world today. Porsche Tycoon. Shared platform with the Audi E-Tron, of course, both Volkswagen Audi group cars. This, I think, looks absolutely brilliant though. It's a stunning looking thing. Keeps that typical Porsche ethos, but adds an extra 2 doors, a few more seats, and you get a good looking vehicle out of it. Michelin Pilot Sport tyres on this car as well. Another Model 3 with the aerodynamic wheel trims. And over there, Southampton University Formula student team with what looks to be an electric go-kart of some sort. An electric racer. That's quite different and interesting. Carbon fibre tub by the looks of it. Very simple, very straightforward. Front wing. And there's the 3 People's Choice Awards cars. Little G-Wiz on the end, Porsche Taycan in the middle, which I think may well be the winner, because the G-Wiz was a runner-up, the camper van was a runner-up, therefore that does make it the winner. Yes, I like the camper van most, I voted for that, so I'm happy that's actually in that small collection. Bmw i3, this thing's got a fantastic colour behind it. Love the styling of it. Every time I see one of these, I fall more and more in love with it. Been told I can jump into the Bmw i3. It's quite open in here, very flat looking floor. Obviously being electric, you don't need to have all the exhaust tunnel or transmission depending on rear wheel drive. Little cup holder, tiny space here. Looks like it holds your phone in there, which is quite useful. USB ports down there, 12 volt parking brake, accelerator and brake. Oh, I like this, it's almost like a Targa roof. It's quite open. Let's have a look in the back. Because the doors open this particular style, I believe suicide doors is the style. Plenty of room to get in. Nicely moulded seats. 2 cup holders in the rear as well. I can see why these cars are extremely popular. Is it quite easy to shut? Yeah, the door's nice and light. But I do like the extra detail of blue seat belts. BMW, in this particular article here from Future Classics finalists, described as quirky, spacious, clever and great to drive. I'm yet to drive one of these. Would quite like to. I haven't had a look at too many BMWs. In fact, I haven't had a look really at any on the channel. So I think it'd be quite good to get one of these on the channel. especially as it's one of the BMWs I really like. Let's have a look at that boot space, very flat boot floor. Let's have a look underneath here, is there any space? Nope, that's your battery space by the looks of it. Do get a little luggage strap in here, 12-volt socket, light, another one here. A perfectly usable car. This Porsche Tycoon looks absolutely fantastic. Loving this livery, obviously a bit of a race-worn Martini style of livery, but without Martini branding on it. Simmons it says, which I imagine is probably a dealership. RS EV, electric vehicle sales. They've got the Taycan here, they've got a Model 3 next to it, and what looks to be a Model Y as well. Quite a few cars. Here is a Bmw i3. I quite like it in white, it's simple but it's effective. Quite a few of these here today. I do like that switch gear though, just look at that. And in this area it's Tesla Central basically. You've got Model X, Model 3 and Model 3. Next to that is the Renault Zoe and one of the more, I guess, not original, but older style of Ioniq. Bmw i3, unique forever. Oh, I'm liking the design on this. The graphics, more like a sort of bronzy colour. Really stands out against this grey paintwork though. It's an i3S, so that's just a bit more power than usual. Oh, but I like this. I like the colour of it. Model 3, Ioniq 5. This Audi E-Tron, worth about £70,000, belongs to somebody else who's, I think, just started out on YouTube a couple of months ago, called Ski_Tron. It's obviously Ski-Tron. They do many videos based around family activities with this car, driven to the Alps in it, and apparently in a whole 500-mile round trip they charged it up for 90 minutes in total, which is fairly impressive when you one of the most common I guess faults or reasons people say no, I'm not buying an EV is because of charging times. This sort of proves that you can do it in a reasonable amount of time. It's not obviously going to be as quick as a petrol car or diesel or any internal combustion car, but it's still fairly impressive for especially an electric vehicle. Something like that might be the reason why somebody decides to go and buy one. Somebody may watch this video and look at that and go, oh, it charged up in 90 minutes in total, and go out and buy one. Yes, e-tron 55 Quattro, Kia e-Nero. Remember the huge campaign they had with this car with Robert De Niro, the actor. Model 3, BMW i4, fairly new car, based I think on the, is it 4 series of BMW? Of course, it's got the interesting style of grille, which many people I know are not huge fans of. I personally am not, but it exists, I suppose. But what I do like about it is the colour of the car. That looks absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, still not a fan of that grille. Model 3, again, quite a few of those. Some little scooters from Piaggio, which are electric, obviously based on the more modern Vespa. And a dog. Who doesn't like a dog? Tesla Owners Club of the United Kingdom with a model, is that a Model S? Yep, Model S 75D, Model S, Model 3, Model 3, Model S, Model S and Model X with something really interesting. This wooden boat with an electric motor in it. So this Model X has probably been one of the highlights of the show for many people. Can tow, obviously, trailers, as you can see by the tow bar on the back and the electrics. It's got an electric boat on the back in a more traditional style. Silent Adventure, the boat's called. But I really like this. It's a fantastic combination. And of course, these have been doing their little dance all day, which I did actually film last time I was here, and I'll just put a little bit of an overlay of one of those cars from last year doing it, because I can't right now. But This is a fantastic combination. I really like this. Just over on this field we've got a collection of 5 electric cars. Mustang Mach-E, Renault Zoe, one of the later ones, Peugeot E-2008, and 2 Tesla Model 3s. Nice little lineup. They've got their own little area over here. And the final row of cars here at Simply Electric. Starts off with the Chevrolet Volt. This one's 2012. What's quite interesting is this car was sold in the UK as a Vauxhall Ampera. I don't believe it was sold in Europe as the Opel Ampera or any other variation of. But yeah, Chevy Ampera. This one's sold from now Vauxhall.co.uk. So that's quite ironic. But yeah, usually you see these in the UK as the Vauxhall version. Seems to be a genuine Chevy because of the steering wheel. Usually that's the hardest one to change. Model 3 with Dorset EVs. Little Nissan Leaf with the smiley octopus. Bmw Ix, again, another quite new one. I like the colour of these newer BMWs. It really stands out. It looks seriously premium. Especially with the golden detailing down the side there. You got that there. I like it. The Kia e-Nero again. The Seat Me Electric. Of course based on the same platform as the VW Up or E-Up. Insert all the Yorkshire jokes. I think it's about 160 odd miles in that, and about, I don't want to guess the price actually, I don't know, I'm not going to say because somebody will disagree with me. But yeah, great little cars those, really like them, especially like the E-Up as well. The styling on that's fantastic. Hyundai Kona, ZS EV, Nissan Leaf, Kia e-Nero, and to end the show, a Renault Zoe from 2015. These cars here are with Dorset EVs. Of course not massively far for them to travel. To Beaulieu, of course, it's fairly close to the Dorset border. But yeah, if you're interested in EV clubs for your own car, if you've been watching this video and you have an electric vehicle, why not join a club? Because there seem to be more and more of them popping up to celebrate the electric car. And why not? The cars themselves are actually fantastic and brilliant little things. Maybe I should join a club with my Sinclair C5. Maybe I should bring that next year. Hopefully I can. Hopefully it'll be all in one piece.
So that's about it for today. We have seen lots of different electric vehicles, lots of them the same as well, which is always nice to see because it's good to have a little bit of a community around these things, especially something so new that is really coming into its own now as people start to become even more environmentally conscious. But as you may be able to see from the arena behind us, it's starting to empty out, and I think it's about time that we headed home.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button. Oh, there's my thumb. Comment down below, let us know which was your favourite vehicle here at Simply Electric at Beaulieu today. And of course, if you want to see more EVs and of course car-based content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. There's plenty more of it coming up on the channel very soon. And of course, don't forget to check out Beaulieu as well. Fantastic collection in there. Many older EVs as well in there, so definitely worth a look at as well. Right, I've been Jake.
I've been Genevieve.
Thanks for watching Fuel Power. See you in the next one. Until then, farewell.